Hello everyone, it's Madi Azar with Spectrum Art Creations for Graphic 45 Brand Ambassador Design Team. Today we will be using the Steampunk Spells Deluxe Collector's Editions to make this amazing jam-packed book. Perfect for journaling, photos, gift giving, and so much more. It is full of pockets, flips, and hidden tuck spots. So grab your Steampunk Spells 12 by 12 pad and follow along as we put this project together step by step. In step 1, we will be creating our base. For this, we're going to find the page titled Clockworks. We're going to trim that down to measure 6 inches tall by 12 inches wide. Keep in mind that whatever's facing down will be our cover and whatever's facing up will be our inside. So we are going to place the smaller gears facing up. We're going to score that at 4.5, 4 3/4, 9, and 9.5. We will fold at our crease lines and burnish those down with our bone folder. When we are done, we should have the following folds. One that is 4 1/4, then a 1/2 inch gusset, then another 4 1/4, then another 1/2 inch gusset, and then a 2 1/2 inch flap. For step 2, we will find the paper titled Totally Wicked, and we're going to trim that down to 4 3/4 by 5 inches wide. Now in this next step, it's very important that we make sure that we place our paper onto our scoreboard on the 5 inch wide side, not the 4 3/4. So make sure you're at 5 inches. We are going to score that at 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 4 1/2, and 4 3/4. Next, we're going to take that paper and turn it onto its side. It doesn't matter whether you turn it left or right, but we're going to turn it once. We're going to score at 4 1/2 and 4 3/4. In this next step, we're going to be cutting where our fold lines intersect, vertical and horizontal. At that intersection point, we're going to be actually cutting off those corners. However, in order to make this a little bit easier for us to see, the best thing to do is to actually burnish all of our fold lines first. Now we can clearly see where those lines meet. Next, taking our scissors, we are going to cut off where those lines intersect, where they meet, horizontally and vertically. So there'll be a little corner missing, a little square rectangular shape missing off of both the left and the right. In step 3, we will be working on our left pocket pouch. We're going to trim a piece of black cardstock to measure 11 inches by 7 1/2. We're going to score at 1 inch and at 6 inches, making sure that it's on the 11th inch wide side. Next, we're going to flip that over and we're going to score at 2 inches and at 5 1/2. Next, we will grab our scissors and we're going to cut the bottom left and the bottom right rectangles off. We will also need to cut the top left and the top right rectangles, leaving us with something that resembles a lowercase letter T. We're going to fold and crease and burnish down all of our score lines. And once we fold it, we will actually trim off any bits that we kind of see that might be impeding the closure. In step 4, we're going to find our paper named Fanciful Floral, and we're going to cut that down to 4 3/4 tall by 3 1/4 wide. This will be the front cover for our pocket, and then we were going to cut the top cover for the flap, which is going to measure 3 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. Next, we're going to work on the inside mats. Grab your Beware page and we're going to trim it down to 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. We will need 2 of these panels. Once we are done with those 2 panels, cut one more piece from the scraps measuring 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/4 inch. To finish the mats for our pouch, we're going to need 4 more panels measuring 4 3/4 by 1 3/4. In step 5, we're going to find the page Frightful Folly, and we're going to be keeping the top and the bottom right hand side. We're only going to use the bottom left hand side with the owl because we're after those beautiful polka dots. We are going to be cutting out a pocket using a die that I have in my stash. Of course, you can actually make your own pocket if you wish. For step 6, we're going to find Pumpkin Power and cut that 6 inches tall by 2 1/2 inches wide. And using a piece of black scrap, we're going to cut the exact same thing to reinforce our paper. In step 7, we're going to use Vintage Voyage. We're going to cut out the book of spells to measure 4 by 6 inches, so be sure to leave the black border all the way around. Using that same page, we're going to use the bottom 3 journaling cards, crease them to make them a trifold. For step 8, we're going to use a 3/4 inch punch. We're going to punch out 2 black and 2 from our fanciful floral scraps. For step 9, we're going to find the leftover Vintage Voyage journaling cards. We're going to look for the one that says tick-tock with the clock on the bottom, and we're going to cut on the yellow border on the left-hand side, the bottom, and the top. But on the right-hand side, where the clock wings are, we are going to leave the orange checkerboard border. In step 10, we're going to bring back our Frightful Folly, and we're going to cut out the black cat card, leaving the black border on the left and the bottom, but we're going to cut on the checkered line on the right-hand side and at the top. From that same page, we're going to cut the 4 large postage stamps located at the bottom. Now we will need to make our stamps a little bit smaller in order for them to fit in the pocket. We can do that by either cutting them with a straight scissor, or if you have decorative edge scissors, you can use those as well. Using a scrap from our fanciful floral, we're going to cut a piece that measures 3 by 1 1/2. Next, we're going to find the sticker with the blue border and the floral cluster on the left-hand side and adhere that to that panel. Using our black scraps, we're going to cut 2 little squares that measure 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. We'll need 2 of those, and then we'll find the 2 stamps and center those on those black cardstock pieces. Using our fanciful flora again, we're going to be cutting 2 bookmarks measuring 1 1/2 by 4 1/2. We'll need 2 of those as well. And gathering our Beware card from our Steampunk spells, we're going to fold that at the black line, and then we're going to crease that again and fold also the Good Fortune journaling card, creating a little accordion book. Continuing with our prep work, we are going to use a 1 1/2 inch punch circle, and we're going to notch our tick-tock journaling card. For step 11, we are going to work on our bookmarks. We'll start by chomping off the top corners. Next, we're going to distress our bookmarks. Finally, we are going to grab our chipboard set and find the 2 golden cog gears located at the top. We will distress them, then we will adhere them to the top of our bookmarks. After that, we will move on to distressing all of our pieces. Now that most of our prep work and cutting is done, we're going to move on to step 12, which is putting together our brad reinforcer circles, as well as all the other decorative papers for our pocket pouch. Now that our circles are glued together and reinforced, we're going to work on both covers, the bottom as well as the top flap. Now, here I am adhering the full panel, as you can see. However, you do not need to do that. You can actually turn this into yet another pocket by simply gluing it only on 3 sides. Next, we are going to mark our center point, which is 1 3/4. Using our craft pick, we're going to punch the holes on both of our covers, the bottom and the top flap, as well as our brad reinforcer circles. Next, we're going to adhere our reinforcer to the top flap panel. However, we're going to hold off on the bottom one for just 1 second, because on that one we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be finding the halfway mark again on our TikTok journaling card, punching a hole, gluing down our brad reinforcer and inserting our brad. But on the back, we're going to need to protect and hide those prongs. We will do this by using a scrap piece of paper. It could be your black cardstock or any other small piece. And again, making sure that we cover those prongs fully so that it doesn't interfere with anything sliding in and out of our pocket. Finally, with our front and brads all done, we are going to move into adhering the rest of the panels on the inside. And now with our decorative panels all in place, we can place the final piece to cover the last brad or prong. And now all of the base is put all together and ready for us to simply finish decorating it. In step 12, we will finalize our pouch. First by placing our little pocket with the floral cluster on our center panel, followed by our black cat journaling card, which we will place on the bottom panel on the right hand side. Our little postage stamp pockets will be next. They will flank both the left and the right hand side flaps. Now remember to only adhere glue on 2 of the sides, and these will become pockets for our bookmarks. Next, we will place our large postage stamps in the center pocket, and if you haven't already done so, let's adhere those gear cogs to our bookmarks. In your remaining papers, look for the Steampunk Spells clock card. We are going to cut that down, leaving a little bit of black around the borders, and then we're going to insert that into our black cat pocket. In your chipboard pieces, find the beautiful steampunk clock. We are going to adhere that only to the right hand side flap. And as a finishing touch for closure, we're going to add twine to our brads in the front. And now our pouch is fully completed, full of little tucks and flips and bookmarks and all kinds of journaling spots. In step 13, we're going to finalize our center pocket. First, I'm going to reinforce my little slotted pouch, and that is because, of course, I don't want anything to get snagged or obstructed, and I know it's going to be something that's going to have pieces going in and out of it, so I want to make sure that it's nicely reinforced and protected. Then I'm going to glue that on 3 sides, left, right, and bottom, thus creating our little pocket pouch in front of our other pocket. In step 14, we're going to work on our front cover pocket and extender 2-in-1. We're going to start by gluing our pumpkin power and black cardstock panels together in order to strengthen that paper. Next, we are going to glue the Book of Spells large journaling cards to our front cover. Our next step is going to be to glue down that pumpkin patch reinforced piece. We're going to do that by only gluing on 3 sides, thus creating a pocket on the inside of our book cover. However, be very mindful of orientation that you do not glue those pictures upside down. In step 15, we are going to be putting it all together. Starting with our pocket pouch on the left-hand side, we are going to glue that on only 3 sides. I almost forgot and added glue everywhere, but we only want 3 sides because this is going to be another little secret pocket. Next, we are going to work on our center pocket. For that one, we are going to start by adding glue to the bottom piece only first. Now remember, there are 2 fold lines, so only add glue to the first fold. Making sure that it is nice and centered, we are going to add our glue to the left and the right hand side again, only to the first fold line. Use your ruler to ensure that you have good adhesion. And next, we're going to be able to bring all of our little bits and pieces, our beware, as well as our little book, and insert those into our pockets. To finish our center pocket, we are going to grab the orange scallop sticker border and adhere that to the bottom, cut to size, and then we're going to finish it off by adding our Vintage Voyages sticker. In step 16, we're going to be making our own ephemera by using our stickers on black cardstock. From the Steampunk Spells page, we're going to cut the 3 small postage stamps on the bottom right-hand side. We are going to be turning that into a bookmark for our center pocket. Once again, using our corner chomper, we are going to trim off those top corners, and then we will proceed to distress it as well. And to finish our center pocket, we will finish by cutting out all of our stickers, which are now ephemera, and adding all those little bits and touches like rounding off our corners and punching out our circle. Step 17, we're going to find the remainder of that Steampunk Spells collection, and we're going to cut that large journaling card out. Next, we are going to score it on the black line using our stylus pen and ruler. Adding adhesive to the back end of that flap, we are going to turn this into yet another magical little flap on our front cover. More flips, more fun. Looking through a sticker pack, we're going to find the orange winged clock border strip, and we're going to adhere that to the front and cutting it down to size. In step 18, we're going to be working on our closure. I am going to be using my craft pick to poke a hole in the center of my left-hand side gusset spine. I am using about 50 inches of black organza ribbon. Now, that's because I plan to wrap it around a few times. Plus, I always like to be generous, just in case I don't want to run short, so I always like to give it a few more inches rather than being short. Once again, using my craft pick, I am going to be poking a hole right through the organza ribbon to mark my center point. I'm going to be inserting my brad, and then I'm going to be inserting that brad directly onto my gusset or spine. In our next step, it's going to serve a dual purpose. Of course, the first one is to go ahead and cover the prongs from the brad on the inside, but also to actually help us reinforce those spines. So using my scraps, I've simply cut out some little scrap thin pieces of paper, and I'm going to be adhering them to both sides, both spines. In step 19, we are going to be cutting this gorgeous journaling card with the Curiouser crow on the bottom. We're going to be cutting the left and the right hand side only, leaving the top and bottom, and that's going to be our gorgeous little tuck secret spot into that left hand side pocket. But of course, if we've got something at the top, we need to balance it at the bottom. So using those very same scraps that we just cut out from that journaling card, it's going to match perfectly. We are going to glue that on the bottom of the left-hand side. And now it's time for step 20, our final step. So sad, as we will be actually bringing our crafting time to a close. We will grab our chipboard, which has got a beautiful spiderweb clock. We are going to add glue on only one side, as we will be turning this into a little pocket tuck. And then grabbing our gorgeous steampunk girl on the bike, we are going to once again turn that into a bit of ephemera. We are going to adhere it onto our black cardstock and burnish it down, and then of course trim it so we can make it look as one cohesive piece. And now our little tag is ready to find its little pocket, and our book is now completed. I hope you guys have crafted along and made this wonderful book of spells together with us. It's got plenty of room for photos, for journaling, for all kinds of ideas and projects as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for crafting along. We do appreciate you being here. We appreciate your views. Please make sure that you leave a like and a comment down below. And we hope to see you very, very soon in more crafty videos. Bye everyone. Have a great day.